ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us today. We're coming back with one of the most important moments that I prepared for you guys today. So we have today representatives of European CIO associations, EuroCIO, where the CIO Council of Romania is member since 3 years ago. So we have with us several global CIOs, individuals that are here to discuss with you and to share their knowledge about this difficult time we are passing through, all of us. So we have, let me introduce you. We have Sandeep Sen, which is the global CIO for Linde. In case you don't know Linde, it's a company with 28 billion US dollar revenues. We have Emmanuel Gaudin, and you know Emmanuel since 2 years ago. He was in Bucharest. He's the global CIO for Lagardere, and he is also he's member in board member of European CIO Association as a representing 𝐂𝐎𝐔𝐍𝐂𝐈𝐋. 𝐂𝐒𝐎𝐔, it's the French association for the CIOs, similar with CIO Council, a very powerful association, I guess with 3 million euros budget, and very active in the digital world. And we have Luciano Guglielmi, which is the group CIO for Mondadori. And he's also the representing the president of Italian CIOs Association, 𝐂𝐻𝐿. So guys, I invited you, gentlemen, I invited you to share your knowledge with our IT community. And just to set up the environment, we all know that we are now in a big sanitary crisis, and that put a lot of pressures on the companies, on the business, and in particular on IT. We all know that the IT had a very good and positive response in the majority of cases all over the world, not only in Europe. And we managed to calm down the situation. We managed to put the businesses on a good shape, or at least to survive it, let me say like that. And now we are preparing for what the future will look like. And I would like to, because you are global CIOs, I would like Sandeep, for instance, to tell us, and Emmanuel and Luciano, what was the major challenges you're facing currently into not post-COVID time, but preparing the post-COVID time, and if the IT strategies were changed, and how the COVID changed the IT strategies in your company. Sandeep?
Yeah, thank you, Yugo. And firstly, congratulations to the Romanian CIO Association. I know it's always difficult to organize conferences, but to organize such a large one on the web must be pretty challenging. But I think challenging is probably a word we've heard many times in the last 6 months. And whoever I speak to, it seems to be that in some way or the other, most IT heads or CIOs have come out pretty successfully into this new world. Yeah, so I think we should all pat ourselves on the back. But as a result, unfortunately, our expectations continue to be high. I would say, so from a Linde perspective, we are sort of based in, or we are operating IT in almost 80 countries. We have almost 60,000 users. So the impact is pretty high. And if you ask me, how has COVID actually changed the strategy, or what are we doing differently? Because I think enough has been said and talked about during COVID and what happened, etc. So I'll probably focus a bit more on, from June, July, what are we focusing on? So I think the first thing I would say is that we're definitely relooking at our cybersecurity strategy. Okay, what was appropriate pre-COVID is definitely not appropriate anymore, and probably will not be appropriate for the short to medium term, as everybody expects remote working to continue in the short to medium term. And of course, we are discussing that later also. But I would say, as part of the cybersecurity strategy, we've reopened the topic of zero trust security, which has become very relevant as the networks have increased, as more and more people have gone to home working. What exactly is zero trust security? How is it relevant to Linde? And what do we need to do to actually complete the piece? Yeah. So I would say the relook at the cybersecurity strategy for me is the #1 priority coming out of the process. #2, I would say, is relook at how technology can adapt to ongoing dynamics in the business world. So I think post-COVID, a lot of the businesses experienced a severe downturn, And depending on which industry you are, some of us have started actually seeing the volumes coming back, right? Now, unfortunately, this is not going to be the only V or W we are going to face. We're going to face this multiple times. And your IT strategy should really be geared up on how you're going to use technology to actually respond and react to that dynamic situation while reducing costs. Because I think it's a foregone conclusion that unfortunately all of us have to reduce costs. At least that is the severe pressure we face in our industry. So basically, post the cybersecurity strategy, relooking at your core IT strategy on what changes we need to make to actually adapt to the new world. And I would say third, and before I move on, the third one is really around people engagement and training and skilling. I think post-COVID, with remote working, with so much activities around the cloud, security, etc., I do feel that there needs to be, or there is a need for reskilling individuals, not only on the technical skills, but more importantly on the soft skills. And what worked in pre-COVID is probably not going to work necessarily in the current situation with so much remote working. So I would probably say those are the three areas where we are now focusing a lot for sort of the short to medium term going forward.
Very good thoughts. So Emmanuel, Sandeep put raise some topics. So if you want to challenge him, if the zero trust security is a good policy, and how are you going to use technology into post-COVID?
Yeah, sure. I think our situation is a bit worse. For instance, the famous 4C, the first one for caring, second one for continuity, and the third one for cash. Unfortunately, we are still in of course, we went through the continuity issues without any problem, as Sandeep said. So it was really great because even the CEO moved to collaborative tools within one day. And so I can't imagine the level of budget I need to put on the table to achieve such a situation, that having everybody moving into collaborative tools without any change management issue, I would say. But as I said before, we are still in a caring and cash issues, unfortunately. So first, situation in France is not so good. So I have a few we call it contact cases in my department, my IT department. So this is a lot of management issues, because you need to split team into team A, team B. You need to force people staying at home for 7 days, and so it's a lot of management for IT department, but for the whole company. And in terms of cash, situation is a bit difficult. We are operating in travel retail, and so everybody knows that level of passenger flows is divided by I don't know, by 50, 60, 70%. And even the spend per pax, which is very important for us, would be very low. And the new world, I would say, we will recover a normal situation. I don't know, we hope within 2 years, but could be 3 or could be 5 years. So you need to anticipate, and we have a lot of budget exercises, estimate exercises, or strategic plan to try to anticipate this cash situation for the next 2 or 3 years. And for my department, of course, as already said before, but we need to reduce costs. We need to variable the cost as much as possible. Trying to put, of course, as much as possible money on cybersecurity, because cybersecurity remain a key issue at the same time. So kill all the projects that we can. And so, for instance, we are not yet in a phase to trying to investigate what will be the new businesses, or what will be the transformation that we have to conduct for this company to recover, I would say, the growth. So we are still in a survival, or between survival and revival phase. And so in terms of management, it's also very tough, as you can imagine, because you need to listen. You need to care about people, and so it's a lot of I would say energy to keep people on board. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. So, Luciano, how's the situation in Italy, and if you can complete Sandeep and Emmanuel?
Yeah, thanks, Yugo. We started with the pandemic emergency in February, so a lot of months, and we have reached in Italy the peak very soon in April. So by IT point of view, we have the need to maintain the trust that the IT has acquired in this period, because the business unit before the pandemic considered the IT a cost, totally a cost, as you know, as every CIO know. I think that the pandemic has one positive thing as expressed for the CIO is that the IT, the technology, is a must now. The business can't do their business without the support of IT, of the technology. The technology must be able to support the business. So the real challenge for me, in my opinion, for the future of the IT department will be to maintain this trust that step by step we have acquired, we have fight to conquer. So I think that, okay, we have to reduce costs, all the things that Emmanuel and Sandeep has spoken before is right. But I think that now we have to do a step forward. So begin to think that the future will be never the same we have imagined before the pandemic. So we have to try to achieve that the technology is a must. Is a must for the future business. It's not the business, or not always. There are some companies that is the technology is the business, but for a lot of part of the companies, technology must be an enabler of the business. And for the first time, the technology guys, the CIO and other guys, have a seat on the crisis committee as a very important seat on high level committee. So this is a very chance for the IT department. We have never have one similar in the past. We have not able to lose this chance.
Very interesting idea, Luciano. So, Sandeep, Luciano said that technology is a must. It's a business enabler at the end of the day. And Emmanuel mentioned that he's already preparing scenarios for budgets, I don't know, for the next 2 and even 5 years. So I was wondering if the CIOs, so if technology is a must and the CIOs, what is the role of the CIO? It become more strategic. It's we moved from the so-called, keeping the lights on to a strategic role. It's obviously not your case because you're obviously in Linde in the board. But how do you see the future of the CIO and his role? It is more strategic, or after the pandemic will pass, we will come back to green lights and stuff?
Yeah. I think I would say, Hugo, that normally IT organizations find themselves on a 3-phased approach to the best in class. The first phase is keep your lights on, right? That's absolutely sort of stage 1. Stage 2 is when you are starting to become process enablers. Yeah, you are recognized as a value-added component of the business process experience, and we went through that whole phase in the early mid-90s, early 2000 of that whole topic before digital hit the banner. And the third phase is really delivering competitive advantage. And in the earlier world, delivering competitive advantage basically meant customer engagement, employee engagement, best in class in digital, etc. Unfortunately, in the pandemic situation, this entire triangle has got upturned. Yeah, delivering competitive advantage is actually come back to keeping your lights on. Yeah, and very often this has now become, or was really a big challenge. But as I said earlier, and I think Luciano makes a very relevant point, the trust has come, and I think this is a fantastic opportunity. Clearly, as a result of the working, IT is recognized as the nerve center of the full organization. So I would say that IT has definitely moved on from just being a cost center to actually a business enabler. It's almost an absolute minimum must for business. Now, that doesn't mean that IT is not under stretch. So we had to reduce my cost base compared to 2019. My overall 2020 will be almost 10% less. Yeah, cash, including CapEx and OpEx. And my 2021, and right now I have a budget presentation literally in 2 hours, we are going down further, another 5 to 6%. But it's not that we're actually freezing technology moves. And one of my biggest challenges is to convince my board and my team that how the public cloud can actually help companies optimize their costs. And this is a very important piece of our strategy, that whenever we are investing in the cloud, and this would be probably one tip I would give, that if you're investing in the cloud or investing in business cases, at this point of time, unless the business case has a quantitative benefit, don't spend the money. It's a waste of money. You have to be cash positive in every investment that you're making in IT in the short term. Not that you're having a cash positive over 10 years. Those days are gone. You have to be cash positive in the next 18 months. Otherwise, think again about the investment, because the pressure on cost will be very, very high.
So basically, the cutting of the budgets in IT, Sandeep, so 10% and the next 5 or 6% is basically driven by maintaining a cash positive, because you're expecting the revenues to lower down at the end of the day.
Yeah, I would say that the majority of the reductions, I would say we are making the reductions, but it's not that we are going backwards on technology. The technology cycle is actually moving forward. In fact, we are actually investing in new technologies to try and make savings, because very often continuing to invest in old technologies itself is a cash burner. So you have to find those opportunities where you keep, and it's also quite motivating for your employees. If you're actually going to stop investing in technology, you actually demotivate your teams also. And during this phase, I think people engagement and motivation is quite an important topic.
Okay, so Emmanuel, basically, if we're cutting down the budget, but we're still trying to stay with the technology up to date, and moreover to adopt new technologies, how do you see it? Is it okay to move to the cloud? Is it okay to rapidly adopt to the cloud? But how about dealing with the cybersecurity topics, or maintaining, for instance, an IT resilience? And how do you comment? How the future at the end of the day will look like? Cutting the budget but adopting new technologies.
Yeah, sure. I think as Sandeep and Luciano said, I think the level of trust we gain after this crisis makes us, I think, very relevant at the executive committee level to be part of the strategic discussion of our company, which is very interesting for each of us, of course. And so meaning that all the previous plan and all the, I would say, the previous strategic plan or budget or what else would be have to be reconsidered, and I think nobody is really it's not an easy exercise. Nobody is really able today to investigate and to anticipate what will be the new future. For example, impact on real estate, impact on the society itself, which is a basic of any strategic plan. You have to investigate what will be the trends in your society, what will be the new world. So everything is on the ground floor, I would say. Well, not everything, but a lot of things are on the ground floor. So we are in a good situation to leverage the trust we acquired during this crisis and to be part of this discussion. So I feel it very comfortable, of course. But at the same time, as you said, Yugo, I think nobody really I would say takes part of our previous decision on moving to the cloud, improving our cybersecurity measures and so on, because okay, we are as a CIO, we have to manage that. And I don't know in your company, but in most of the company, I think the technology world is sometimes not able to understand. So we don't have to forget what we did in the past, because we know that moving to the cloud and having a clear and strong cybersecurity plan is key for the business. So we have to continue, and we have to continue to invest on that. So I know that all the company, I don't want to make advertising, but we know that everybody who was on Office 365 or Google, G Suite, and so on, I would say, went through the crisis very easily compared to others. So we know that the cloud is one of the good solution. The problem is how you can continue to invest on that. As I said before, this is not really, at least in my company, seen as strategic, because it's some kind of technological layer, or some kind of it's more technological choice than strategic choice. As we know that this is not the case, but we have to convince everybody that you have to continue to put money on that, and at the same time invest on a new business, and help our company to transform their business and to catch new opportunities. Because this is also, I would say, the market will be totally in some time fall down. So we will have new opportunity, we'll have acquisition, we'll have a lot of things. So we need cash to invest on that. So this is it's quite maybe much more difficult than in the past, because the level of investment is pretty much lower. And so keeping cloud plus cybersecurity plus technical lawyers plus strategic lawyers, it's sometimes difficult, but we will do it.
Hugo, I just want to ask one question, and maybe to supplement. Coming out of Emmanuel, you talked about the issues, etc. But one of the tactics I found quite useful is I actually took my board and the senior management at a fairly detailed level on how IT was actually able to manage remote working. Because for many of these senior managers, it's a black box. They actually don't know how this was done. And I actually prepared very simple 2 or 3 slides in business language to explain to them how did we actually do this, in such a short space. And the benefit of that is, and it only has like 5 lines on it, but it gives them a clear transparency on what we did, how we did it, and then I think going back to Luciano's point, builds even more trust with that transparency. So this was something we actually used a lot, because we will all get the pressure for cost. So just as a little bit of a tactic to offset that pressure.
Thank you for the tip, and thank you, Yugo, for the invitation.
Yugo, if I can, I want to take the assist from Sandeep, just to speak about one thing that I think is very important. I think that the CIO doesn't love the technology as technology. It does love the technology when you discover a technology that can solve one problem in the best way you can do. And this way, I think that we must help our business premise, our human resources, to understanding that the process are work strictly with that technology. We can have the best technology implemented in our company, but if the processes behind this technology, or that the culture that the users, the employer have about a new way of work, remote work, for example, as Sandeep before, the technology can be the solution alone. The process, the culture, a real period of learning learning by doing, but learning. I am totally agree with Sandeep that we have to explain it to the businesses, to the user, which is the best way to use one technology or another one. So I don't really think that private clouds or some other can be the solution. Every company has to understanding which is the best solution for its needs, and the CIO, the best CIO in the world, can work every day to discover which is the best solution and the best price to solve the problem of its own companies. This is the real challenges for the future.
I'd like to challenge you, one of the last questions, but not the last. We have in Romania a lot of problems, or all the IT sector is complaining because of the lack of skills, lack of IT skills. So I want to know if you have the similar problem in your companies or in your countries. How about you, Sandeep?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be a very brave CIO to say that we don't have a problem on skill. Yeah. I think what the issue is, we have a problem, but the reality is we have to manage with our respective teams. Yeah, I don't think we have the luxury or the time to go out and completely change what we have and buy consultants. So answer, Hugo, is yes. And I think the important thing is, in the context of the post-COVID situation, look at the IT strategy because I'm sure every CIO will have a short-term vision. Okay, guys, this is what we're going to do for the 12 to 18 months. Understand what is absolutely critical to deliver the strategy and do a skill gap analysis on that topic. Because in the context of cost reduction, you can't recruit, you can't take consultants. So you have to make a very fast analysis of where exactly are you short. Because just going to the cloud is not a big deal, right? Which part of the cloud do you want to go to? And in that, do you have the skills or not? So I think this is really for me, and you rightly, and I said it at the beginning also, people engagement and talent skilling is one of the key challenges going forward.
Yeah, same question. So again, I'm putting, in the context when the technology is a must, when we are, adopting the new technologies and new trends and technologies, but on the same time, we're going to the cash down. I mean, keeping a cash positive, but cutting cost, Emmanuel.
Yeah, no, just answering the question of skill. I was surprised 2 weeks ago because I published advertising to hire some good engineers, and I was surprised because we received more than 200 CVs, and I don't know, 4 times the level we received before the crisis. So, and finally, what I understood is this crisis induced a lot of change in mind of people. People are living in the city want to live in the countryside. People living in countryside want to live in a smaller house, in a bigger house, and so on and so on. So people working in a consulting company want to join a big corporate, and people living in startups also wants to join strong, maybe LC team and so on. So as a big companies, we are not suffering from this crisis in terms of attractivity. This was a good surprise because I think consulting company, as I said before, have also to reduce their activity. And we are representing, in some extent, the security and the safety that people are searching for instance. So this was a good surprise. And to answer your question, Hugo, I think what will be difficult is maybe the people we have today are not maybe the right talent we need for the future. So, as Sandeep said, we experience that since a long time, of course, but right now we don't have the time to switch, or let's say to implement a transition plan. We don't have years to do that. We have only months. So that's the problem. That we need people able to carefully reduce costs, to implement move to cloud strategies, and sometimes we don't have those people at home. So to conclude, the market is quite in a good, I would say, mood for corporates. But regarding the challenges we have to hurry up on that.
Luciano?
Yeah, I think that the skills is one of the pain points that we have on our table, because it's more simple to have good engineering than having good engineering capable to speak with the business. This is one of the pain points that normally in the IT department will have. So I think that I have started to work with my team 3-4 years ago about the soft skills. We have a specific learning path to improve the soft skills, because I believe that the technology guys begin to speak in the same way that the business can understand. Because if not, we remain the IT, the guru. We don't go the step forward to become a partner of the business. This is the first one. The second one is that the soft skills and the ability also, I understanding in my experience, are not depending on the age. I found 20s, millennials or so on, not capable to change, to change their mindset, and instead I found 50s or 60s very able to change their mind. So the innovation is a mindset, and we have to build this mindset from the scholars people going on through the period. It's very important. Last, I finished. I also wanted to underline that adopt a new way of work, for example, smart working or so on, also depends on the infrastructure, and not to all the countries also have an infrastructure so largely, so wide diffused to improve the remote working, for example, or to help people to work in the same way or better, staying at home or not staying at home. Then we can have very important aspect on the environment, traveling less than in the future. In the past, we can have less CO2 in the atmosphere, so it could be a good thing.
Thank you, Luciano. So, gentlemen, next time I will invite you for 1 hour panel discussion. I got a lot of questions, but I would like Sandeep to draw a conclusion and some recommendations. So there is a valuable input here. So technology is a must. There is a big chance, as Luciano said, for the ITs and for the CIOs to take the role very seriously and to lead, at the end of the day, the digital transformation. They have a good chance for a CIO strategic role. And honestly, I was a little bit, Emmanuel said that the crisis could jump to 5 years, which is very scaring, but could be a reality. We have to maintain a cash positive. We have to adopt the newest technology and I don't know, take a deep analyze for the public cloud, and trust, build again trust, but zero trust when it comes to cybersecurity. Many other ideas, but Sandeep, please, as a EuroCIO member, a direct member, please send your recommendation in 1 minute for the Romanian CIOs, for the business community as well.
Yeah, I think
how the future will look like and what are the steps we should take it, as an IT.
Yeah, so I think in terms, a lot of people are saying that, remote working is the new normal. We'll have to go all offline, etc., etc. Honestly, I'm not so sure. Yeah, I think in my personal opinion, if you look at what's happened last week, the CEO of JP Morgan, the CFO of Google have actually both said work from home is not sustainable. Yeah, productivity is falling, mental health is becoming an issue. So my personal view, which I've actually held right from day one, is that you're going to have the right balance between work from office and work from home. I don't think it is going to be 100% remote work permanently. If this basic assumption changes, yeah, then you've got to make sure that your workplace model, yeah, is not cast in stone that you can't flex it accordingly. You need to have a basic minimum workplace regardless of what you do. And then if you go more work from home, etc., you increase the security layer. So I think that's my, if I may say so, vision or whatever for the future work model, because I'm not fully convinced that it's going to be so remote in the long term. And when I say long term, I'm talking 2021 and onwards. In terms of going forward, I mean, I would probably summarize into 3 bits. Firstly, everybody, particularly our own teams, are looking for leadership. This is the time to provide leadership. And if you really want to provide structured leadership, have a one-pager strategy. You don't have to have a 30-pager strategy. Have a one-pager strategy, make 3, 5, or 6 simple points relevant to the business model. Don't follow the herd. If everybody's saying going to the cloud, you don't have to go to the cloud. You do what is relevant for your business, but make it documented and show it as a vision to your people. I think this is very, very critical. The second bit I've already said, cash is king, so invest with care. Yeah, be very careful about your investments. And the third thing I will keep saying, and I think Luciano made a very good point, remote working or this new way of working is impacting people. And the soft skills training is very critical. People engagement is got to be something we have to be conscious about.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us at CIO Council Virtual Summit. It was absolutely a real pleasure, very valuable and powerful thoughts and ideas we had to digest immediately. So it was a real pleasure to have you on board, and we'll be waiting you for the next activities of the CIO Council Romania. And it was Sandeep Sen, Global CIO Linde, Emmanuel Gaudin, Global CIO Lagardere, Luciano Guglielmi, Group CIO Mondadori. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Keep in touch.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
All the best. Cheers.
Bye.